Have you ever noticed that some moments in life divide in between the before and after? That phone call, the diagnosis, the divorce, the loss of someone we love, the moment you realize the life you imagine is no longer the life you're living. These moments don't simply change our circumstances, but they also change us. For most of our lives, we believe that the future will unfold according to the plans we've made. We build careers, relationships, families, dreams, and identities around those expectations. But then, one day something happens that we never predicted. Everything changes. And suddenly, we begin asking questions like, why do I feel so lost? Why I can't move on? Why do I feel I no longer am the same person? For a long time, I believed those moments were simple experiences we had to survive. But after losing my father unexpectedly during the COVID-19 pandemic, I found myself asking a different question. What actually happens inside the brain when life changes forever? That single question changed the direction of my entire life. Before we continue, I'd like to set a few expectations. This masterclass is educational. This isn't therapy. It isn't meant to replace a professional mental health care. My intention today is to help you to understand what happens inside the brain during life's greatest transitions and introduce you to a framework that has shaped both my research and also my personal journey. At the end, I will also share a few ways to continue learning if this perspective resonates to you. These include self-paced courses, live on Zoom programs, retreats, community experiences built around the philosophy and the life method. There's isn't absolutely no pressure. Take whatever serves you today. My hope is that you live in a new way of understanding your own life. After losing my father, I realized I was only grieving. I was trying to understand a reality that my brain had never imagined. Like many people, I wanted answers. That search led me to pursue neuroscience at Columbia University. I wanted to understand grief, not only emotionally, but also biologically. What was happening inside the brain? Why could one event completely change the way we experience ourselves, our relationships, and the future? But something interesting happened. As I study neuroscience, I also continue learning alongside indigenous communities from Brazil, where I had already have been spending some time in the past few years. Although the language was completely different, I noticed something interesting. Science and indigenous science were asking many of the same questions. How do we humans begin to adapt? How do we continue living after a profound change? How do we create meaning from uncertainty? This was the moment I realized that my work wasn't really only about grief. It was about life's greatest transitions. One of the brain's primary job, it is prediction. Every second of every day, your brain is making predictions. It predicts who you are, who you love, where you will wake up tomorrow, how people will respond to you, what the future looks like. Those predictions create stability. They allow us to move through the world efficiently without having consciously to analyze every experience. But what happens when one event changes everything? A divorce, a diagnosis, a death of someone we love, a career change, immigration, retirement, the birth of a child. Suddenly, the future we expected disappears. The brain is still trying to predict a world that no longer exists. That creates uncertainty. And uncertainty is one of the brain's greatest challenges. Many people interpret this experience as weakness. They think, something must be wrong with me. But what if nothing is really wrong? What if your brain is simply doing exactly what it's designed for? Learn, adapt, update its understanding of reality. That realization completely changed the way I see life. Because it means the life's greatest transitions are not simply emotional experiences, they are learning experiences. I will say that again because the central idea is of everything that I teach. Life's greatest transitions are learning experiences. One of this understanding becomes what I now call the life philosophy. Life stands for living inquiry for evolution. And the practical application of that philosophy became the life method. Living. The first step is living. Life asks us to participate before asks us to understand. Many of us immediately want to escape discomfort, fix, return to who we were. But adaptation begins acknowledging the reality, not that the life we wish we still had. The life is here now. Living means allowing ourselves to experience uncertainty without believing it will define us. Inquiry. The second step is inquiry. Inquiry replaces judgment with curiosity. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We begin asking, what is my brain trying to learn? What beliefs no longer serve me? What is this experience inviting me to understand? Curiosity transforms suffering into learning. It allows us to become students of our own lives. F for evolution. The third step is for evolution. Every transition asks us to evolve. We often try to become the person we were before. But life rarely asks us to go backward. It invites us to become someone new. This is where identity begins to reorganize, where purpose begins to emerge. It's where we consciously choose growth rather than remaining attached to outdated version of ourselves. Embody. The final step it is embody. Knowledge alone does not transform us. Embodiment does. Embodiment is where understanding becomes action. It's where neuroscience becomes daily practice, where learning becomes relationships, where meaning becomes community, where ideas become the way we live. Transformation is not measured by what we know, is measured by how we live. Transformation. Imagine approaching your life transition differently. Not believing you're broken, not believing you have failed, not believing you need to rush through your emotions, but understanding that your brain is doing what it's designed to do. Learning, adapting, reorganizing. This perspective doesn't remove the pain. It changes your relationship with pain. Instead of asking, how do I go back? You begin asking, who am I becoming? That question opens entirely new possibilities. Today, I want to introduce you just one idea. That life's greatest transitions are learning experiences. And if this perspective resonates with you, I would like to continue exploring. I would love to invite you into the next step. From my educational ecosystem, from the treaties of life to live Zoom programs, retreats, and community experiences, we explore the neuroscience practices, conversations, and tools that help people to navigate life's greatest transitions with greater understanding and intention. My hope isn't simply that you live today with more information. My hope is that you live with a different question. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask what life is inviting me to learn, because life greatest laboratory that we will ever had, and each of us has the opportunity to become the scientist of our own life. Thank you.